Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are hearing. Now, on to today's story. 1/5 update. 1/5 lack of sleep is getting to me. Caffeine can do only so much. My supervisor is asking me if I am okay in a side chat. I asked him why, since my metrics exceeded expectations. He forwarded me a call record to review. It was an escalation from an earlier call. The caller was a remote sysadmin. Didn't do any basic troubleshooting, attempted to lead the conversation out of scope and manipulate me into doing his job for him. I could hear the silence and my voice inflection reflect my demeanor when I deal with my SDBX in exchanges. Direct, to the point, and little deviation from what was related to the account being handled. In customer service, this is seen as an unwritten rule to be accommodating but mindful. I appear to have associated SDBX's behavior toward me with anyone attempting to manipulate me. Professionalism had me address it as room for improvement with my supervisor. Since he respects my work, he sees it as nothing that can't be handled by me. I'm not so sure. 1/7, the queues are understaffed. I receive a letter in the mail on break. A medical bill. Ubgin letterhead. Pregnancy test. SDBX thinks she is getting to me. This bothers me less than the fact that I could possibly lose my job, seeing manipulative people taking advantage of me differently. My professionalism is all I have. I cannot cave. 1/8, I have reached some form of normalcy. My workload is still heavy with the remote work being done. Productivity is down, in my department, and like my previous position, I have taken on the additional responsibilities of other departments. At the end of the day, I received a call during normal business hours. I listened to the voicemail in the background while taking a call. It was the staffing agency I had been speaking to. They may have found a position fitting my goals. Government work. We will see how this transpires. I get back to keeping myself busy. Edit. Dates were wrong. It was a long month. The beginning. Update. Pretext: to avoid your mistakes, you must see that you made them. March 2007. Things are about to wrap up for college. I am currently a full-time student with 2 part-time jobs, but the student analyst position worked on the campus ended with my graduation. The extra time available to me may be a foreign concept. Since I took it slow, the government/state assistance and my supplemental income from working at a home improvement warehouse afforded me the freedom I am about to enjoy. Next stop. Work on my appearance for interviews, for an actual career. I'll start with a haircut. The haircut is uneventful, fit for an office job. I walk out. There she is. My high school crush. The same person who had a falling out because she wanted to focus on finishing college was working part-time at a Pizza Hut next to a barber shop. The last time I saw her, things didn't end well for us. She thought I was getting too close and had to work on her. She was in a holding pattern and was rethinking life. I smiled politely and waved her on her way because I had really no obligation to her at that point, and I took what she said seriously. She wanted to work on her, and there she was. Later that weekend I got a call. It was her. I hadn't changed my number since last we met. She told me that she missed me being there for her and wondered if we could do something. Despite my reservations on how she treated me last time, I genuinely enjoyed her company when it was welcome, and I thought there could be no harm. On the subsequent dates, she had explained to me how her family was oppressively religious, and the real reason I couldn't be in a relationship with her was because I didn't share her religion. I took this as a challenge. If she believed in this faith and God was the reason for her unhappiness, I would not only find a solution where she can have her family, I would find a way to not lose myself in the process. I told her, okay. Why don't we give it a go? I felt the trick with religions is that it is a social currency. It can either be invested to make people genuinely happy or do great things, or it can debt people oppressively and hold power over them. Simply put, I knew Jehovah's Witnesses were part of a cult centered around a power dynamic centered around elders. If I played their game, prayed to their God and saved this woman in the process, I felt I would have made something of myself. The studies were pretty straightforward. I was assigned a guide to their faith. I asked tough questions and left no illusions that I would respect their faith but maintain my individuality. Normal guides would see this as a problem if complete mental submission weren't made, but my guide was a relatively new convert and had radical views himself. We got along fine. I had shown commitment to the relationship we had, and we kept the bond secret in public at first. Dating outside their faith was something that could get you kicked out. Things had almost come to a head when I was slated for baptism only a few months later. The elders didn't see any benefit for me. They had plenty of other young men that had economic ties to feed their power base, and another warehouse rat was only going to be a liability. My girlfriend saw the facade begin to peel and had to make a decision. She would either have to abandon us or leave the faith and come with me. I didn't mince words. When she informed me that there may be no way they would accept me, it felt like the way we fell out last time. I told it was okay and gave her an out. Family and faith are important things. She instead came up with a plan. She would ghost the faith and her family. The egalitarian in me demanded she doesn't compromise her faith and 100% not leave her family. I asked her to find a way to compromise and she assured me she would find a way. For her to risk such things put me in an awkward position. I just wanted closure. To see if I could be a good boyfriend. This would demand a life debt in my eyes. I think she knew that. February 2009. Months later I got a job at a telecom company and we moved into an apartment. She didn't fully sever ties and it bothered me that she could create a second life like this and enjoy living it. I decided to take drastic measures. After almost 1.5 years being together, I decided to marry this woman. I got along with her really well. She was a friend and in my eyes, she was willing to change her life for me. The best part was that being married outside the faith doesn't technically kick you out. I would legitimize our relationship and keep her from losing her family. Just the opposite happened. She had done exactly what she said she would do. She ghosted her family and her faith. I was so blinded by the happiness that I, in my pride, came up with a solution that would complete another human being. Postscript: people have observable patterns. She ghosted me, made another life and abandoned her family again. What did I expect to happen? Perhaps I did deserve this. Newlyweds. Update. March 2009. I married her on St. Patrick's Day at a courthouse. I was broke, but I managed to buy her a puzzle ring with diamonds inset. About much more than my income could afford, but this woman meant the world to me. I insisted her family attend. Her father did not show. This saddened me, but her mother and brother did. Her mother put on a show. Inside I knew this woman was furious. I wanted to ask for their blessing first, but my wife insisted it would complicate her ability to keep her family. I relented. Her mother had a smile on her face, but it wasn't in her eyes. I promised her I would do everything to make her daughter happy. I have a feeling she didn't care. Her image of her family was shattered. Her husband cheated and left her. Her daughter ghosted their faith. I had a feeling I would need to do my best to repair what I could. Just not today. Today was a happy day. Soon after marriage, I found a job at a wireless home internet service provider. The hours were rough, but the alternative was my one remaining part-time job. This was a no-brainer. My wife and I moved into a new apartment. I couldn't be happier. Apartment life was decent. We had a roommate who was a high school friend. We did everything we could together. Times were great. Early in the relationship, I had exposed all my vulnerabilities. My communication gaps. If we fought, I insisted it would be to make us stronger. Anything she threw at me, I would see it as a chance for growth. Hours at work got longer. My wife's part-time job airbrushing moved farther away. Her business partner found a kiosk in a tourist beach farther away. I felt this worked out because I had already felt guilty working extra hours at work. I made every attempt to visit her on off hours because I missed every minute without her. Work was getting rough. They were restructuring under new management, and the workload tripled. I took solace in the woman who made things better. October 2012. I have been brought to a staff meeting notifying our office we are being laid off. This had just happened when my wife and I were making plans to move into a house. I broke the news to my wife. She said everything would be all right. I wasn't so sure. January 2013. The office officially closes. I had put out resumes everywhere. About 400 employees flooded the market looking for the same work as I, and I had no luck. I had registered for unemployment, and continue to actively look for work. I started getting worried. My wife told me she didn't care. Arguments showed otherwise. Communication started lapsing on small things. Dishes. Errands. I treated it like before. I welcomed me being a better husband. She assured me it was okay. April 2013. Unemployment is not covering the cost of living. I had scaled back to green beans and canned goods as meals. I joked with my wife saying that I'll make a culinary expert out of myself to compensate for the income drop. I insisted she not drop her quality of life because I was the one without income. She laughed it off, but something didn't feel right. I felt like the support was waning. I made every effort to still see her at her job with what little money I had to spare gas. She appeared to appreciate it. I knew she would appreciate it more if I had fixed the job situation. A month passes, and my wife has become pregnant. I start dipping into my 401k savings from the warehouse job I left. I will not have my wife suffer for my failure. February 2014. My daughter is born. I am excited and terrified. My parents are helping with my wife and I in childcare as I take odd jobs between unemployment. I am beginning to lose heart, but I need to keep going. I will be a good husband and father. I must make 2014 finally a break in unemployment. Another ISB was hiring. I qualified at a pay cut. I took it regardless. I was desperate for security. My wife seemed happy. I don't know why it didn't feel like things were getting better. She was more distant whenever money came up. Months passed on and me being the breadwinner wasn't cutting it. I asked my wife if she felt like airbrushing was her career goal since she didn't finish college yet. She said she wanted to finish college and give it a try for something more. I told her that I supported this and would dedicate whatever it takes for her to succeed. I loved this woman. Our future is bright. I will make it out of this bad situation. I will make us a life together. Whatever the cost. Further Entropy. Update. June 2015. The real decay started after mobile. I questioned her motives on where we were going and the fight did nothing to help us grow as a couple. When we got home, I asked her forgiveness and tried to reinforce that I was willing to continue our relationship despite any setback, and if she felt my outburst had destroyed what we worked for, I understood. She told me I was paranoid and that my depression was eroding our marriage. I started getting help. The gaslighting started the moment she knew this argument would destroy me. Anytime something of worth needed to be discussed, anytime I felt bad or couldn't quite grasp why things weren't getting better, she would go cold, remind me about the mobile trip. August 2015. I got a call from my wife. The car broke down. We debated if she would fix the car or buy a new one. I insisted we co-sign and get her a decent commuter car since her job is roughly an hour away. Her credit was shit. I asked why. She explained she accrued $9,000 in debt during her pregnancy. I asked her how that was possible since my parents took care of her when our daughter was born and we fought. She said it wasn't worth the hassle. I reminded her we were in this together. Debt 2. I was concerned about the debt being hidden, not that she had it. This set a precedent. Important decisions were made on eggshells. Things were not looking good. She left her with AP. Again. Rant. 125. Update. 125. I'm late getting out of work and getting anxious because my daughter is in the living room and has gone quiet. I check in between calls and she is napping. I wrap things up with work and check in on her. She wakes up and I prepare her dinner. She asks where her grandparents are and I tell her they are out for the evening. I can't leave her alone. She grabs a tablet and makes an offhand comment that I can just leave her with the dog, and I say no. Something isn't right in the back of my head and I ask her who said it's okay to be left alone with our dog. She said mommy leaves me with their dog. I ask the follow-up question, are you alone with their dog sometimes? She corrects herself and says that second AP is there with her. Inside I explode. I've kept it together and reassured that the only tie that woman would ever have on me this day forth was our daughter, and I warned her that if she ducked with that, I would do everything in my power to protect her from her sometimes. I try to calm down. I text her asking about it. She downplays and trickle-truth me. The arrangement was family or professionals. If she wanted to include her boyfriend, we could have discussed it. Instead she made it about her. What if I marry him? Typical. She turns the care of our daughter into her feelings again. I get on her level. I attack her self-image instead of actual progress with the care of our daughter. Reminder that you can be broken. Do better. See saved texts for reference. This undermines parenting agreement. I usually keep my emotions in check, but I am tired. My daughter is the only thing left to me, and I want my wife to remember not to duck around with my daughter's safety. I handle this poorly. Again she tries to get closure at my expense instead of owning up to responsibility. She wants to justify her actions. To get closure. Nothing gets done. I reread the texts and it sinks in. She wanted this. Instead of doing basic things like notifying me when our daughter is left with a stranger, she is willing to put no effort in and just let that poison me since she can't get to me any other way because of my North Carolina arrangements. I thought I was healing. Now I'm just bitter. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Have an awesome day or night. Wherever you are.